Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is a question: does John Swinney agree that a trans woman is a woman or not? And before I start, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member or you can subscribe, that's free, or even just hit the thumbs up button when you see it at the bottom of the screen. That helps spread the videos. So, John Swinney, obviously just recently been put in as the First Minister, and he's been asked before about the hot potato of what is a woman, or can women have penises, and these sort of things. And the Scotsman guy, Alistair Grant, has run a story where he's actually been asked the question again and gives a sort of non-answer. So the story says John Swinney, First Minister and SNP leader, addresses question on whether trans woman is a woman. John Swinney has said he accepts transgender women are defined as women. Okay? His answer's not just as clear as that. You'll see this as we get to the bottom of the story. The First Minister was asked for his views during an interview with BBC Scotland's Good Morning Scotland programme. He was previously mocked by J.K. Rowling for failing to directly address the same question during SNP leadership campaign launch. Asked if he believed a trans woman is a woman, Mr. Swinney said, listen carefully, "I believe a woman is an adult female born as a woman. And I also accept that transgender women are defined as women." What does that mean? Right? I believe a woman is an adult female born as a woman. That's sort of mainstream, right? There's no big wowie there. But then he goes on to say, and I also accept that transgender women are defined as women. So a simple yes or no would have sufficed, John. But you're doing that pandering thing that you need to do, particularly when you are the leader of a minority government who is needing the support of the Greens anytime you want anything, and particularly a budget put through the Scottish Parliament. So you gave us a nothing answer. There's nothing controversial about saying I believe a woman is an adult female born as a woman. But the wee add-on that you have to put, and I also accept that transgender women are defined as women. So, are they women or are they no women? This word defined as a woman, that doesn't really mean anything. I could define as a potato. Quite a big fat potato right enough, but I could define as a potato. It doesn't make me a potato. So, you and your party go on about transparency and openness. How about, oh aye, and this is a new beginning because you're the leader, right? You're trying to say everything else we've done in the past is shite, doesn't count anymore. What we do from today onwards counts, right? Well, here's a wee suggestion. Start being straight with people. Say yes or say no. And the story continues. The issue has been a source of ongoing controversy within the SNP and across Scottish and UK politics in recent years. Asked the same question during his leadership launch, Mr. Swinney said, "If our politics is defined purely and simply by these questions, we are not addressing the core issues and challenges people face in our society." Right, so you said that a couple of weeks ago when you were wanting to become the leader, Mr. Swinney. Unfortunately, this is a new thing about the SNP that you don't want to define it just by this question. So why have the SNP for years, and you, when you were education guy, been battering to death gender recognition, gender education, with kids in primary school, which can be 4-year-old if you're in Scotland, and educating them about LGBTQ rights, transgender this, transgender the next thing, having transgender champions in primary schools in Scotland. It's you and your party that have defined it as this. Nobody else. So you don't get to now say, if our politics has been defined purely and simply by these questions, we're not addressing the core issues and challenges people face in our society. You put it front and centre. No us. Probably not even trans people. You did. Because your party, for the last 3 years, have had to bow to the Greens and their lunacy right? So you don't get to change your rules now. You're actually just shocking. Just tell us what you believe and we can all move on. But you're scared to, because you know what a woman is. And if you say what a woman is and what isn't a woman, you have a walkout with your 7 votes support from the Green Party. That's why you give us stupid answers. In response, Ms. Rowling, JK, a high-profile critic of the Scottish Government's record in this area, wrote on social media, male politicians obfuscating and blustering to avoid uttering the dangerous words women don't have penises totally convinces me that the rights and protections of 51% of the population are safe in their hands, obviously with a big massive dose of sarcasm. A poll by Savanta for the Scotsman previously found more Scots said they broadly agreed with Ms. Rowling over trans issues than disagreed. A total of 41% of respondents said they tended to agree with the author's views more than they disagreed, while 23% said the opposite. And obviously, there's a big chunk in the middle who weren't sure, because they don't know what a woman is. More men said they broadly agreed than women, while older people were substantially more likely to agree with J.K. Rowling. Savanta interviewed 1,080 Scottish adults aged 16 plus online between May the 3rd and the 8th. So, there we go. More of this transgender stuff. And, you know, I think it's wrong to define politics by such a polarised thing, right? I don't like it. But then I don't like politics being defined by independence question, which again is just another polarised question. However, it's the SNP that brought both of them to the table. So the two probably biggest things that divide Scotland right now, and most people don't care, right? But when I say the most divided things, is the things that really polarise Scots are independence and the trans question. Is a woman or woman? That's it, right? Now, it's the SNP that brought both of them to the table. Okay, obviously independence, because it's the only thing that they exist for. There'd be no reason to have them if independence was no longer a political question. And it was them that tried to bring in the Gender Recognition Act that get flung out the courts, right? So, you have divided Scotland in such polarised things. Nobody else. That's on you as a party. So you don't get to turn around like Swinney and go, oh, we shouldn't be defining politics on these things, on these divisive things. We shouldn't bring them into it. We should have made a decision right at the start, what is a woman and what is not a woman. It's not a difficult question. And then sort out the laws accordingly. All right? But no, that's not good enough for the SNP, because the simple fact that we can't ignore, they needed the Greens to get into coalition with them after the last election because they didn't get a majority. And now that they've packed them out of government, they really, really rely on them to get votes to get things through Parliament. Things like important things like the budget. Because I'll keep repeating it. If the SNP and with a minority government do not get a budget through Parliament, which will probably be due in about 6 months, they fail and stop being the government. We go to a general election, which is the last thing the SNP want. So they can't just come out and say, do you know what? A woman's somebody that's born as a young female and they don't have a willy, right? However, you can be a transgender woman, which is a man, born a man, who wants to live as a woman. That's like, and then, you know, you can look at how do we allow for that notion in law? How do we allow for that notion through health? However, they don't want to do that. They just want to pander to the Green Lunatic Brigade, and I have no qualms in describing them as such, because they are barking mad. Okay, they are potty. They have no place in politics because their views are so radical and so mental. And That's not to say people who are trans, genuine people with gender dysphoria, have no place in a society or be in our health service. That's just a ridiculous notion. This is a thing, right? There are a very, very small percentage, under half of 1%, of people who genuinely have gender dysphoria. And they need a health service that can allow them. And that doesn't mean that you give them, puberty blockers and stuff as children, because that's just mental. That's, quite evident in the CAS report. But mental health issues that could bring, like many other things that can cause mental health issues, need biological things that they need help with, that's fine. But we never, ever do it to the detriment of the majority. And as majority, as J.K. Rowling has already described, 51% of our population are female. So you can't have carte blanche for someone who's born as a man, has all their male appendages, being able to go into bathrooms, get into safe spaces, changing rooms, showers and swimming baths and health clubs and sports centres, etc. And we certainly need a better understanding of where we put these people when they want to be involved in competitive sport, right? So deal with it. Let's stop not dealing with it, because that's what you're doing just now, hoping it will somehow go away. So, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please subscribe and hit the notifications button. But most importantly of all, unless you're John Swinney, these nutcase Greens, or anybody else who actually doesn't know how to define a woman, everybody else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.